Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Cami Ewalt, and today is a super special video for me, at least for me. I'm so excited. So Alicia from It's a Craft Thing reached out to me along with a bunch of other content creators here on YouTube, and she asked if we wanted to get together and do a big collaboration, like all these YouTubers getting together with one common theme. And so she got a huge turnout. I'm so excited, and I am beyond humbled and grateful to even be invited to be a part of this group, because like there are some amazing artists in this group, you guys. So I am going to read off each channel because I don't want to get them wrong. And please, you guys, go check out their channels. I will have them all linked in my description, and just go show them some love. They no doubt are going to come up with some phenomenal cup designs. So I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what they came up with. But Alicia from It's a Craft Thing, she's the one that set this up. Courtney from Courtney's Customs. Alicia from Leisha Be Creative, Mal from Made by Manny and Mal, Taylor from Duncan Custom Airbrush, Erica from 321 Cup Designs, and Karen from Karen Basket DIYer. So like I said, I'm super excited to see what all of these artists come up with, and again, super grateful to even be a part of this, you guys. This is so huge to me. Special thanks to Alicia for setting this up, for reaching out to all of the Tumbler community, and for coming up with a theme, just being brave enough to reach out to all these people. I don't think I could do that. So thank you for including me, Alicia, and I hope that we all make you proud, and I hope you're super blessed by what you have brought together. So if you would like the chance to find out how to win this tumbler, stick around to the end of the video and I will give you all the details. But for now, if you are here for an ugly sweater inspired tumbler tutorial, let's get started. I am starting with a sanded and washed 22-ounce fatty from Stainless Steel Depot that I've base painted flat white from Rust-Oleum. And the base of this ugly sweater pattern I downloaded from Creative Fabrica. The rest I created in Silhouette Studio. I've been thinking about doing some videos showing you guys how to create designs. If that's something you guys are interested in, let me know down in the comments. I am going to soak this Haipu water slide in room temp water until the backing starts to release from the water slide paper. Notice the image has been mirrored. If you need help with printing and working with water slides, I will link my water slide video down in the description that should offer some assistance. So I wet my cup and place the water slide face down on the cup, and then I gently just slide that backing down. I love this way of doing water slides. It has been such a game changer for me, you guys. And then after I get the backing off, I use this little silicone brush to squeegee out all the water, the air bubbles, and then I just keep lightly squeegeeing for several minutes, making sure that my silicone brush stays wet so that I don't risk like ripping or tearing that water slide. Even though I've sealed it, it's still kind of fragile, so you guys want to be careful. And then after I feel like I've gotten all the air bubbles and the water and everything out, and I think that it's set, then I kind of just set it up on my drying rack, and I let this one set for about an hour. I wanted to make sure that it was good and dry before I moved on to the next part. And then I move it onto my turner and make sure that it's completely level on my turner, and I like to seal all of my vinyl and water slides and everything with polyacrylic to make sure that it doesn't lift or curl or fisheye or anything while that coat of epoxy is curing over the top of it. It just kind of ensures kind of a little blanket of insurance, if you will. And as you can see, a little goes a long way. And then I just like to go in each direction to make sure that I hit it from all sides to ensure that I don't miss any spots. After that polyacrylic dried for about 30 minutes, I wanted to make sure that the water slide was protected from all the coming steps. So I applied about 20 milliliters of Artistry epoxy. I love how crystal clear and bubble free this epoxy is. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I let this epoxy set up overnight because it was late and I was getting tired. So the next day I came back in and I wanted to always make sure to measure twice, cut once kind of thing. So I'm measuring the width and the height after I applied the epoxy to take into account the extra bulk that was added when we put that epoxy on. I wanted to make sure that my vinyl template for the next step fits correctly. I created this template myself in Silhouette Studio Design program, but stay tuned as I am hoping to launch my new website soon that will have this file along with many more to come. So after carefully weeding and reapplying that little rogue piece that decided to be a pain in the butt, I just eyeballed the size that I would need and cut off my transfer tape, and I applied it like I do with all my vinyl. I like using this lined transfer tape because it allows me to kind of line up my decal fairly straight, so that it's easier to put on whatever project you're doing. So I just gradually work the backing loose as I'm rubbing that vinyl template down onto the transfer sheet and then burnish it down. I work the backing loose down here on the table instead of on the cup so that I'm not trying to fuss with it while I'm trying to keep everything from sticking to the cup before I'm ready. So then I just use the table as kind of my straight edge to make sure that template is lined up on the top and the bottom. Make sure that I'm spaced evenly on both sides, and then I apply these strips of just spare transfer tape that I just put over the top. Kind of acts as an anchor point until I'm ready to move on to the next step. So once I feel like I'm in the right spot, I just peel back this template and then I cut off a portion of that backing. And when I'm moving on to the next part, you guys want to make sure you're really careful not to let that vinyl stick down before you're ready, because once it's stuck, it's stuck. And then you got to start all over again. It's kind of a pain. Don't ask me how I know. So I just kind of stretch it or tighten it back onto the cup and just gradually anchor that side that doesn't have the backing on it, kind of starting from the center and working my way out. And that now is going to be my anchor spot, so I can take these transfer tape pieces off, and then I kind of fold that whole backing and template back. And then as I'm pressing the vinyl out, it kind of on its own moves the backing off. So I'm just kind of going one row at a time to try to get it good and stuck on there. And then after I'm done, I take kind of the palm or the butt of my hand and press down on each row, making sure that each part is really, really stuck down before I try to take that transfer tape off. And then I'm going to peel the transfer tape kind of back on itself. You want to avoid like taking it straight up or like ripping it off, because you run the risk of just pulling that vinyl off. So if you kind of take that transfer tape and fold it back on itself, it's going to allow it to kind of roll off the transfer tape and stay stuck to your cup. And it also kind of lessens your chance of bubbles and things like that. It just makes it go a little smoother, I've found. If any pieces are being stubborn, just put your transfer tape back down and rub it back down on your cup and you should be good to go. All right, so then we immediately go into the white puffy paint that I'm using for this 3D effect on this cup. I start by running a thin line down, and then without squeezing any more paint out, I use the tip of the bottle to run back down, and it kind of smooths it out a little bit and widens it out to the sides of the vinyl a little bit. And off and on I was having issues with it kind of blowing bubbles or spurting out, so I would just take my fingernail and run right down the edge of that vinyl where the vinyl meets the cup, and it acted as a really good like edge to get my fingernail under there really well. So with these stitch parts, I tried to start in the center and push some paint out, and then with the tip of the bottle kind of guide it into the narrower parts of each little section, and it seemed to work pretty well other than trying to glob on paint and control it. But I am right-handed, so I work left to right in this design, so I can rest or like anchor my hand to the right of where I'm working, so it steadies my hand as I'm working on these intricate parts. And I don't worry about if it still has some vinyl showing, because we are going to go over this a second time, and then after that we're actually going to spray paint over it with white, so you won't even see it. Okay, so when we get to the dots, I do the same thing. I just squeeze out a little bit of paint and then kind of use the tip of the bottle to swirl it out to the outside edges of the vinyl. And I'll go back over and add more paint if I need to, or just kind of swirl it a little bit more, whatever it needs. And then for these zigzag areas, I did the same thing. I kind of started from the inside where I could, and then guided it with the tip of the bottle up to the corners and the edges, and cleaning up with my fingernail or the end of this little tool. Later I added in using a small paintbrush dipped in a tiny bit of alcohol, and that proved to be pretty effective as well. And because my puffy paint area was more than half of my cup, I had to get a little creative on how to hold it and apply the puff paint while recording and without smudging the other side. I was almost completely successful. Alternately, you could split this into multiple sessions and obviously wait for one side to completely dry before moving on. I was just way too excited and a little impatient. So I did let that coat dry for a full 24 hours, and I found that shaking the bottle frequently and then like tapping the paint down into the tip really did help with that blowing bubbles and like spurting out things. So, and then I just wanted to give you guys a little glimpse of like full row of each part as I started this second coat of paint, which I also let dry for a full day before moving on. Alrighty, moving on. So then I want to mask off the ugly sweater part by using just some wide blue painter's tape. And I'm being very careful here because I only want the red part covered, because I'm going to spray paint the rest white. So I just am taking my time here and getting it as close to the edges of the white without going over as humanly possible. Once it's all covered, I take it outside and spray it with the same flat white paint from Rust-Oleum that I used for the base of the cup. And then once it's all painted, I came back in and then I removed the tape right away and just went ahead and set it up on my drying rack. And then I went ahead and let that dry overnight. It was getting late again. And at this point, I'm just adding some epoxy. I'm not going quite as thin as I would if it was just a normal epoxy method glitter adhesion, but I don't want it as thick as I would if I were trying to cover glitter. I hope that makes some sense. I'm just putting down a thin layer to make sure that I get enough to anchor the next layer of glitter. I'm going to have a little bit of chunky glitter, but I also want to get into all these crevices of this 3D bumpy sweater texture stuff. So that's what I've got going on here. And then I started adding in this Opal Ice mix from Grateful Glitters. And I know you can't see it on camera here. It'll show up here in a little bit when I do a close-up of the cup. But oh my gosh, it just lended that like icy kind of frosty look on the side of this where the red and the white meet, just to kind of smooth those harsh edges a little bit. Wow, that was hard to say. But I loved how it just added just a little extra something. So this is the chunky glitter that I was talking about. And then after I sprinkled on these chunky bits, there were some rogue glitters that got a little too far into the red part. So I just took my little tool. You can use like a weeding tool or toothpick or tweezers or anything like that. And I just moved those chunky glitters back out of the red part more towards where the two colors meet. And then I moved on. I mixed this really pretty mix of glitters using 1 part Opal of My Eye with 2 parts of Morning Snow. And it just created this like super frosty, like glistening snow is kind of what I was going for here, and I think it just landed it really, really nicely. So I covered the bottom completely, and then right where that rim meets that red part of the ugly sweater, I did a really solid line of glitter there, and I did it actually all the way around the cup. And then I kind of tipped my cup at an angle like you guys have seen me do for like my ombre cups, and I let that just barely cascade down. Let me zoom it in here a little bit so you guys can at least see where the glitter is hitting. And then I'm just gonna tip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Again, making sure that there's a really solid line of glitter right on the top of that lip of the cup. What I'm trying to do here is establish like that, think of like a frosty window on a really cold day, how it just kind of provides a frame for it. So that's the look that I'm trying to go for here. So I just keep kind of going back and forth a little bit till I get the amount of glitter cascading down that I want. And I'm also going to add it to each side of the red ugly sweater part too. And just take your time here because you can always add more, but it's really hard to take it away. You kind of have to wipe it all off and start again, and that would be super sad. On this last layer, I used Artistry's Fast Set, so I only had to let that set up for 3 hours before moving on to this part. And now I'm using Artistry's regular epoxy. I've mixed up 30 milliliters and I've mixed in the tiniest amount of this stunning holographic top coat additive from Grateful Glitters. It's called Over the Rainbow. You guys, this is the perfect amount of light shimmer without like being overpowering, and it lended so well to the overall frosty, like glistening snow scene that I was trying to capture. I would highly recommend this to your glitter arsenal if you guys don't already have it. I use it for so many things. Grateful Glitters carries like some of the most amazing products. I absolutely adore them. So even though I mixed up 30 milliliters of this epoxy, I only wound up using somewhere between 20 and 25. I didn't need the whole 30 milliliters, but I didn't waste it. I used it in a mold, so no worries. But take your time and just get into all those little crevices. I love that Artistry Epoxy self-levels, so I don't have to worry about like any, as long as my arm is level on my turner, I don't have to worry about any like bubble butts or muffin tops or anything like that. It self-levels and just creates the most beautiful glass-like finish. So I'm just going to spread it out, make sure that it's even all the way around my cup, and make sure you get your bottom, make sure you torch it, get all the bubbles out. And then I let this set overnight because, again, it was late and I was tired. And then the next day I sanded the rim. And if you need a video on how I finish my cups, I will put one down in the description. But you guys, look at this cup. It is absolutely exactly how I had pictured it in my head. And as much as I want to keep this, I did say that I was going to give it away, but trust me, I will be making myself another one. All right, so if you have hung out through this entire video, first of all, let me say thank you. I'm super grateful for you. And second, let me tell you how to win this tumbler. Over the next 3 weeks, I will be releasing 3 separate videos, and in each video there will be a part of a hidden message. So you have to watch, because it'll be random. It won't be in the same place every video. So you'll have to watch through the videos, grab that week's hidden message, write it down or take a picture, screenshot, whatever. Just remember it. And then on the 3rd week, which will be December 8th, I will not only post the final part of the hidden message, but that will be the video that you will need to comment in those comments. So December 8th comment, the entire hidden message. So all 3 weeks will make one message, and you will need to put that in the comments of the December 8th video. So I hope that makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't. All comments need to be in on December 8th, because I'm going to close them at midnight Central Standard Time, and then I will put all of the comments, the names of the people that have commented, I will put them into the random name picker wheel on the internet, and then on December 10th, I will release who has won this beautiful tumbler, and then I'll get in contact with you, and as soon as I get the address, I will get it popped in the mail, and it will be there hopefully in time that either you can keep it or you could give it. It would be an amazing gift, I think. Like I said, I'm gonna make myself one because it's super stinking cute. But those are the details. Please let me know if you have any questions. If you loved this video, if you liked this video, if you got value out of this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. It does help very, very much with the YouTube algorithm. And hit the bell notification because you don't want to miss any of the next 3 videos at least that are going to be released with those secret messages. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.